Okay, so this is video 3, and it's sort of an in-between video because while I was preparing for the actual video 3, that will now be probably video 4, I was thinking about a few things and looking at a couple of other things, and then I thought, well, why not? So if you watched video 2, we ended up with something like this, where I used the Matchmove sequence from After Effects and imported it into Maya through LiveLink, and I used the locators or markers or nulls that I dropped down in After Effects to build some geometry that I can use for shadow catching when I add in my sort of like VFX element. But as you might remember in I think it was video 1, I was talking about Nuke, and that Nuke, or rather Nuke X, has this ability to generate a point cloud and convert that point cloud to a geometry. And that process is called photogrammetry, where you take a bunch of images, just like you do a Matchmove, and then you use those images to generate 3D geometry. This can be used for many things. You can create very photoreal elements. Generally, photogrammetry works well for matte surfaces and stuff like that. So in this case, it should be pretty ideal, since there are not really that many shiny surfaces in this clip. The thing with shiny surfaces is that reflections are really hard to deal with for the software that has to like calculate the depth. So imagine you trying to have a sequence where you have a camera moving past a mirror. The depth calculating part of the algorithm will have a really hard time to determine the depth of the actual mirror surface. Instead, it will tend to determine something at the depth where whatever the mirror is looking at is, but that also creates issues because it's sort of like moving in a nonsensical way compared to how the rest of the surfaces work, since it's like mirrored. Anyway, so I looked at some of the options, and one of the options is like this free one called Meshroom. And this is Meshroom. I ran through this. I didn't. The 2 pieces of software I tried was this Meshroom, that is a free piece of software, and this Agisoft Metashape, which is also a free piece of. This is a trial software version. This is a 30-day trial, and Meshroom here is free. So what I did was I created. Actually, I did a couple of things, but one thing I did was to create a subset of my my image sequence where I had like every 10th image in it, and I tried submitting that to the software simply because like every 10th image is usually good enough if you don't have like really fast moving, which will be crazy anyway. It just takes longer if you have many images, and if 2 images are very close to each other, you don't really get any parallax from that anyway. But actually, this sequence, just to be even more crazy, is made from the whole sequence, just because I just thought, well, why not? Let's test it. I gave it the sequence and let it stay for some hours when I did something else, and it worked out fine. It probably did slightly better than the every 10th, but not something that I'm in a work situation would, at least for this kind of thing, would consider useful. So in Meshroom, I generate something like this, you can see it sort of extracts the camera positions. And since this is every single camera position is like 500 cameras or something like that, 400 and something, and it generates a point cloud, as you can see. And this point cloud, this is kind of funny. As I said, I didn't read any manuals. I just like did what seemed like the right thing. You know, plugged it in, pressed start, and then at the very end here, this is sort of like a node-based setup. It has this section of things, and it has this output folder. And just copy that, and then I open a browser window, and this is not Windows obviously, and I paste it in, and I end up here. And the texturing thing is interesting because it generates a wavefront OBJ file. It creates a material file, and it creates a PNG texture file. So this can be used in Maya. Similarly, if I do use the Agisoft, it's sort of like the same thing, like add photos, run the batch process, do build mesh, then export. It then exports out an FBX file where I can actually say export model. If I go FBX here, let's go 3 just because I don't want to destroy anything. 2B. You can see I get this, and if I then go embed texture, it will actually put the texture inside of the FBX file. I use PNG to not use JPEG, because JPEG is, as you know, a destructible format, so I might have some quality loss. Actually, in this case, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to use the texture information for other than alignment purposes. So let's see. So this is what I had, and this is actually let's see. This is generated by Meshroom. I cleaned this up a bit because there's a lot of meshes, faces up here that are sort of like, no, I don't need that. Also, there's like funny things like holes here. I actually closed these holes, but yeah. And I noticed Meshroom had a tendency to create a leaky roof here. I'm not sure why, but that's the way it works. So we get something that looks pretty good. I mean, it just generates this piece of geometry that has a pretty good idea of what the landscape looks like. And I can plug that into Maya and use that to align stuff. The other option was the Agisoft one, which is this one. Oh, this is actually this. Oh, I'm mixing things up. This is actually the Meshroom thing, and you can see how this has like geometry up here. And what I do is like grab face, grab this, and then I use expand selection, sort of like that. Get rid of that. Just trying to clean up stuff here. Get rid of all the extra bits and pieces. So let's see. And this is actually one of the places where it's nice to have textures, because as you can see, I can see that there's stuff that is textured as being in the foreground, but it's obviously, like this area here, is obviously background material, and everything with the sky color on it is background stuff. I also have some small shrubberies here, which I think I'll just get rid of because it probably make a lot of problems. A little hole in the geometry here, more stuff over here. As I said, I didn't read any manuals for the two pieces of photogrammetry software, so there might be good ways to rid yourself of much of this post work. There's some filtering options. There's options to get rid of like bigger polygons. As you can see, the weird polygons tend to be bigger. I assume that is because the parallax of those pixels are less, and the way it works in the software is that those pixels will be regarded as bigger in a way. In reality, they should be like way out here somewhere, but obviously that didn't happen. Yeah, let's see. So that was that, and that was, oh, so I have two of the same thing. So let's just see if I can find that other file, which would be in, let's see, just go up there, and then I saved an FBX2 here. So this is the one coming from the Agisoft software instead. And this looks a bit different. It all has like it just has this, and it also have all the cameras. So I'll just group that, and these are not aligned with the. Well, actually, the Meshroom thing would be like upside down, and this thing tends to be like 90 degrees offset. So if I do this, you can see I get this, and it actually looks pretty nice. This one has the roof down here. It's there's no holes, but as you can see, it has like a lot of the. This is actually, as I remember correctly, a lot more similar to what we saw with new Gex. They will create these like blob structures, but these are things I'll get rid of anyway. Oop. That was the calculate button instead of delete button. So I would get rid of these things and move stuff around, and yeah, as you can see, this actually looks pretty good. It has a. It seems like it does a slightly better job, or a slightly different job at least. It has a lot of this background stuff down pretty well. Not all of it, obviously. You can see there's still some of this area here that is not quite how I want it. Anyway, let's pop into Maya here. So what I can do here is, now that I have all of this stuff in its place, I can go and do an import. And that import should come from this folder. Let's see, just go copy, paste, enter. Yeah, let's go with the Meshroom thing. So I'll import that. There we go. So I have that over there, and if I press S, I'll get the texture information as well. And then the way I'm working through this is that this is obviously not aligned. So what I'll do is I'll try to align this. And see, okay, should probably be like this. Let's see if I can figure out where the little cabin is. It's sort of like there, and I'll move that over here somewhere. And this is one of the places where I find it useful to maybe we should just get the front thing here, and maybe set the image plane to only show in the primary camera like this. So I have this, and I'll just need to sort of like rotate that down, see if I can get this stuff to sort of line up more or less. It's like that. Top view. See, it's there. And then I press the insert button, and you can see it'll get this. And I'll just move that over there. Press insert again, and then I can use the what was that? So like, okay, I was almost like doing subdivide on everything. So just like that, And let's pop into perspective and see how that looks sort of okay. Of course the size is all wrong. And then I need to figure out where my, so I just need to grab my insert here. And then what I'll do is I'll snap it down here at the corner. I'll just go hold the V key and middle mouse button, drag it down there and press the insert button again. So it's stuck there. And then I'll do two things. I'll do freeze front transformations. So you can see that makes my pivot point and everything aligned to the elements. And yeah, that's it for now. That'll be fine. So what I can do now is like tweak this into the position where it's sort of sticking to the there, and maybe just doing a scale up. What? Yeah, okay. It's just lagging a little bit. So let's see, something like that. It's not perfect, but it's sort of like getting there, and then maybe move it back a little bit. There. So you can see how I'm just tweaking this a little bit, trying to make everything line up nicely. So this is one of the things that you have to keep in mind. These softwares are not the same, and they may not agree on the angle of view of the camera. So that might create discrepancies in terms of the angle of view. But it seems like I'm getting pretty close to something useful here. Yeah, it's sort of like very close. Something like that. Okay. Let's just see. Let's say this is it. Good. So I have this, and I can just get rid of my other stuff here. Let's go hide and pop into my my track camera, and then I'll just see how this works out. It actually looks pretty good. I'll just go for textured. Oh, sorry, for wireframe, and then I can look at this, and it actually looks like when I'm scrubbing here, it's actually hogging the. So what I'm looking for is whether lines and points here are sliding in respect to the texture underneath, and in this area here, that the area that I'm interested in, it actually hogs it pretty good. There's some over here, there's a little bit of sliding, but I'm not too worried about that. So that looks pretty good. Then of course there is all of this extra geometry that I need to get rid of. So just pop into face mode, grab these, just delete these, there, and then you have this area here where we have a lot of these that are sort of like sky texture thingies. Just get rid of that. So this is like the annoying process, and it's I mean, if all I need is this, I could just like go all up deleting stuff, but it's not all that important. I'm just actually, I like having some geometry in there. Whoop, that's too much. There we go. So, and we have some stuff up here. Just get rid of that, maybe that, and over here. And I can of course choose this outline thing here, and then just go like so. Just, yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, it's I'm not going to use all of this too much in detail. So basically this means that I now have this here. This is geometry, this is not the image plane, and of course I have still have these extra pieces here that I'll just get rid of. Select, row selection, delete, there, delete, there, delete. Just, you know, cleaning it up. So that's sort of like where you see all of this I would probably clean up. But this would become my shadow catching plane, and I can always delete what I don't need. You can see there's some here that is like obviously too much, just go away. So all of this here, I probably don't need that, and I probably don't need all of that there either, and yeah, I can just delete all of that I don't need. Okay, so it looks like this, and it works kind of nice, and you can see that the parts over here is obviously not what I want, so I could clean that up. You see that here I actually have like part of this thing here, and yeah, I just wanted to get rid of that. But the rest here, like this wall and everything, is really nice. So in case I wanted to like center my object over here, I have what it takes. And yeah, let's just make a quick example here. So what I'd do is I'd create just a standing cube, polygon cube. And I'll move it over here somewhere. Just put it into perspective. Move it here. Move it down there. Maybe something like this. Maybe yeah, just like that. Maybe rotate it a little bit, like so. So it's sort of a sitting here on the surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make, and I'm going to do this in Renderman because it's just, yeah, I like it, and I can do something similar in Arnold later. So this one I just gave it a oh yeah, I gave this PXR surface. So this is like the Swiss Army knife, to use a really old term for like this material. It's a PBR material that can do pretty much everything. And I'll do the same for the other one here. But this one, I will right click up here and create holdout. And when I create a holdout for a mesh like this, it becomes a holdout material. So you can see it says it says a lot of stuff. Anyway, in the render stats it becomes a holdout. So this one is like the thing, whereas this one is not a holdout because this is like an object that will be rendered. This one will be used for other things. Also, I need to create a light, so I'll go and say distant light. And the good old trick here is actually, stupid me. I just go backwards. Undo, 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 undo. There. And I'll create this light before, just because PXR distant light. And I'll show you why. Because then I'll go and use look through selected. And I'm looking through that light, so I'll go backwards. And this is more or less an orthographic light, but it's not quite doing the thing. But as you can see, what I'm going through here is I'm trying to match up the silhouette of this building with the shadow, because then I got the right angle. So there, okay, that was quick. Sorry, I need to pop back to my other camera. Good. So now I have the slide set up, so that should be fine. And I'll do this, and I will go and do a holdout, so it adds that. And this one is already a PXR surface. So let's see what happens if I just do a basic render now. Problem. I rendered. I didn't set the render as Renderman. Just need to go in here and say Renderman. There we go. And then when I render now, it will do the interesting thing of opening IT. So yeah, I'm getting IT, and IT is doing its thing. And that doesn't look right at all. Yeah. See, we have this little issue that Renderman doesn't quite handle the image plane, so I'll just turn off the image plane because yeah, it doesn't work anywhere. So let's just try and render again. So I get this, and this is my alpha, and this is the color layer. That's fine. Just stop that. And then what I need to do is I'll need to go into my render settings. Renderman, advanced, output holdout mat in separate AOB. I like that. And then I need to pop over here and go shadows, these two. Oh, yeah. And go over there and go use existing node, and was that it? Just do this. It should be fine. It's a little funny, but anyway, I'll render. It does this, but now you'll notice that there's this little arrow over here, and I can open that, and I have the occluded, unoccluded, and I have the shadow. So this is the shadow. So see, now it's not really good yet because I don't want my holdout to actually cast shadows. So I grab this and then I go cast shadows, turn that off, and I don't want it to be visible in reflections. Maybe I do, but I don't want it right now. So just turn that off, and yeah. Do another render, and I get this, and now it's just because the box is hard to see. And if I go shadow, you can see I get the shadow here. So this shadow I would be able to in comp to use to create the shadow for this box thing here, which has a night mask on its own. So the shadow would just match up with that. And obviously I can add more light to this scene by just adding like a dome light. And if I do that, this will be way too much light, but anyway, just to give you an idea. So there, and you can see it will now light the whole thing, and it will add light to here. You'll get a little bit of light bouncing off the box and into the monastery scene, and I'll still get the shadow here. So you see now I'll get shadows from the bouncing stuff and everything. So that's something I have to take into account if I want this. So that is stuff I can work on. So that is probably a little bit too much, but I can always tweak if one thing should have light and another thing shouldn't. Also this one, I don't want, as you can see, I'll get all this white. I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll turn off primary visibility, and then it's not turned on. Actually, I can use a color map here, and I did a texture. Did I put it here? Where did I put it? I actually made a texture of this. Where did I put it? Did I put it over here? I may have put it over here. No, I didn't put it over there. So I can't remember where I put it. I'll find it. Maybe I put it in the download section. Never mind. I'll find it for the next video. But then I actually used the sequence here to generate like a spherical dome map to use to image light the scene. It's a little bit of a hack because it's not like a real surveyed photo that works well, but it's sort of a hack, and it can be used to like create the right bounce colors and things like that. But I'll cover that in the next one. But just to show you the final bit here, I'll render it now, and you can see now I don't have all of the white stuff in the background. And what I'm really concerned about here is my shadow pass, and then this one, the bounce pass, yeah, maybe it's because this one is too close to that area, and I have that global illumination map that is doing too much work. So I can make that work out later. But this is probably it for this inserted video 3. So the essentials of this is how to create a photogrammetry based geometry for your shadow collection for later down the pipeline. And I'd say it's actually it's at least more or less the same speed as doing it manually, and it's worth a try because you get something pretty good. Now this scene is pretty easy because it's sort of flat-ish, but even here there's some curvature to this area, and if you have something that is even more advanced, then you can use this at least for the organic structures. I mean, the monastery piece itself is actually it's a little too soft compared to the actual build. You wanted something a little sharper, but for this it's probably fine. What I do is just use the texture here. So just go in and use the texture that I generated, and then I would be able to use that as a color reflection area, so that whatever I put here would actually receive the right color reflection off of this holdout. So that's pretty good, but I'll cover that in the next video. So I probably spoke way too long again, but I hope this helped you a little bit, and I'll be back in video 4. Thanks.